Greetings and welcome to In-Depth. I'm Dike Rostant. Now, there are conversations that are happening about increments and work increments, but there are also ongoing discussions about emerging technologies and the impact that they will have on the amount of and quality of work. Now, the creative industry is no different. And in looking forward, Queen's Hall is hosting a symposium on artificial intelligence and art. General Manager Garfield George, he joins us now to share more on this event. How are you doing, Mr. George? Thank you so much for joining us.
I'm great, Dike. Thank you for inviting me.
I want to know, though, for something like this to happen, I'm sure you're hearing things. So especially if we look at on the part of the creatives, what are some of the things that you're hearing that made you say, okay, well, this is something that we may want to do?
Well, Dike, thanks again for having me, and good afternoon to your audience. Being part of and coming out of the pandemic, as we would say, from the last couple of years, we have been faced with another pandemic, if you want to call it, with the artificial intelligence. A lot of persons, a lot of creatives have been faced with the challenge of artificial intelligence, and the threat, if you want to call it that, of this new AI is a survey as to how it is we can utilize artificial intelligence in theater. And what we found was that a lot of persons, in fact, not that they fear the artificial intelligence, but the creatives saw the opportunity in it where it can assist in how they do their work. And therefore, Queen's Hall decided we can do a symposium to alleviate some of the fears that some people may have, but also to build awareness of what this new technology can add to the creative industry and to Trinidad and Tobago on the whole.
And I like the fact that you talk about, yes, there is this wariness, there is this fear, this trepidation, but there may also be a guarded optimism to say, okay, well, this is the way that things are going. Let me try to jump on this wave before I'm as an early adopter. So I'm glad that it seems as though the full spectrum was representing in the things that you're hearing from the practitioners. But it's one thing to say, okay, well, yes, we're hearing it, but it's another thing to decide, okay, we are going to put it on, we are going to carry it forward. What are some of the things that you have in mind to bring to the table, to discuss and say, okay, well, these are some of the points that we want to go across in this symposium?
Sure. Well, let me just go back. I mean, last year, I know we spoke last year, we spoke about the Together event. And Together was a brand that Queen's Hall, we came up with because of, we've been apart from each other for so long during the pandemic that we felt we needed to bring, our artists, our people back together. And we held our first gala event, as you might recall, last year, and in fact produced and managed by the Queen's Hall and its staff. It was in fact one of the ways we wanted to show our versatility in our venue, and to look at opportunities of how not only people would view Queen's Hall as a rental venue, but to show that Queen's Hall and its staff itself can also produce its own event. But as you know, Queen's Hall is a versatile venue, and not only to have fets and events such as theater activities. We wanted to showcase how we can also do symposiums and meetings. And one of the things, as you may know, in keeping with Government 2030 vision, building global competitiveness, and part of the Ministry of Tourism Trust is to market Trinidad as a venue, as a place, as a location where we can have meetings and these kinds of activities. So one of the reasons why we had this event is to also show the versatility of Queen's Hall as well. But while we were looking at that, we felt it was important, and we felt the most important topic was to deal with the artificial intelligence, which is really the trend. So what we're looking at, we're actually having two panel discussions with an array of speakers including, in fact, the first panel discussions to discuss artificial intelligence and the performing arts, the Caribbean paradigm. And it's being hosted by Inca Williams, which is TTT's, one of the TTT's morning hosts. And on the panel, we have Carl Beaver Henderson, you may know as the award-winning musician and a musical director. We have LaShawn Prescott. She is a choreographer. She's now a assistant professor in modern dance at UTT. We have Keith Labon, Microsoft Innovative Educator Expert, and Richard Pierre, Artist Director with the Tobago Performing Arts. And finally, on that panel, we have Vishnu Balu, CEO for Balus Limited. But if you may permit, I can tell you one time, the second panel, which starts at 1 o'clock, is really speaking about our main event, our main tourist attraction, which is the Carnival, the potential impact of artificial intelligence on Trinidad and Tobago Carnival. And that one is being moderated by Raucus, again, one of the TTT's hosts, Carla Paris, which is an entertainment and intellectual property lawyer. Keila Francis, program leader in Carnival Studies at UTT. Valkema Maraj, she's from Lost Tribe Carnival band producer. Alvin Porter, technical director with Advanced Dynamics, and he is a AI. He's been dabbling with the AI and works with the technology for some time now. And Jules Sobian, Carnival band leader, as you know, with Caesar's Army. So we have a wide scope of different persons in the performing arts who's going to speak on this topic, and how, not only how it has impacted on them, but how they've utilized the technology to advance their own area of work.
And it seems as though you've really gone out of your way to grab people from different walks of the creative industry, creative sector. But I want you to advance that notion a little bit, please. So you were talking about the versatility of Queen's Hall as a space, a venue, production house even, and the possibilities there. But it just makes me want to ask you about your thoughts on having players in the field come together to influence policy decisions, because sometimes it feels as though people think that a dancer can only dance, the songman can only deal with song, as opposed to saying, okay, well, for this to get better, for us to approach this result that we want, we think these are the incremental steps, and putting in that work like that, as opposed to saying, okay, well, yeah, man, somebody else will do it, and then we'll use it, we might grumble with it, we might use it, but at really advancing to say, okay, well, this is what we want, and this is how it can be done. How important is it for you to have this sort of, and I'll even call it a think tank, the symposium taking place where you have the players involved, helping to chart the way forward?
Well, actually, Dike, this symposium, the most important participant in this symposium will be the audience. And we have invited students. In fact, we've had this morning, 340 persons already registering, and most of them from tertiary educational institution. We've invited persons who are artists. We've invited producers. And the whole idea is not just participants in the audience to give their input as well. And the hope is that that can influence, policy decisions. We've invited also, of course, our Minister of Tourism, Culture and the Arts. And the hope is that when he's there, and we've invited him to give a closing remarks, we're hoping that he too will listen to, what the concerns of the audience, the concerns of the students, and as well as to influence the policies with regards to this thing. As you know, Dike, there's no law presently or no regulations against artificial intelligence. And this is because, we're still having a discussion as to how it's going to impact. In fact, we've already had persons locally who has used the artificial intelligence to recreate music from some of our artists. And some of them embrace it, some of them are scared. In fact, we're looking at articles where persons have been or trying to be sued abroad. Locally, we have no laws against it, but that is soon coming. But we need to have the discussion, and Queen Soul is we want to take the lead in that discussion.
You say that you make me feel that we should have somebody from AGLA or somebody from the Ministry of Digital Transformation. But we continue that on the other side of the conversation. Stay with us. We are speaking with the General Manager of Queen Soul, Garfield Thomas, and we are looking at the Symposium on Artificial Intelligence and Art. We return with more. Welcome back, General Manager of Queen Soul, Garfield Thomas. He's taking us on a ride, and we're looking at some of the things that will be taking place. No, we didn't talk about the date as yet. It is the 18th of September, Monday, the 18th of September. So he said 340 persons already registered. But with that in mind, though, who's the ideal participant? Or do you have a participant in mind when you say you want these spots to be filled up?
Well, let me first correct you, Dike. You've called me Thomas 3 times, but it's Garfield George. Let me first correct you with that.
Thank you so much.
Yes, it is on Monday the 18th. The ideal participants really is young students, persons in the arts. I mean, it's for everyone. It's for the old, it's for the young. But ideally, we're looking at students who wants to get involved in music and dance, also in artificial intelligence. So it's not only for the performing arts person and how it impacts, but how the performing arts also impacts on person who in technology as well. We think that technology and engineering and art may be competing against each other, but in fact it's all the same. An engineer is an artist as well. The persons who create the technology, it is part of art that we create. So we want to embrace the art, and we want to embrace technological persons as our partners as well. And we want to encourage young persons to come and listen to what artificial intelligence and the technology is offering in this modern time.
All right, thank you so much. And profuse apologies, but Mr. George, when we talk about listening and embracing, what happens after a symposium like this, or what do you want to take place after a symposium like this?
Well, what happens after a symposium like this? I can only speak for myself. And I know from Queen Soul point of view, in fact, we are listening. We just we're just preparing our strategic plan. In fact, this activity forms part of our strategic plan, which will inform how we move the organization forward. We had a number of, as we call it, meetings with other stakeholders and other persons to get their idea about not just AI and technology, but how they like to see the art move forward in Trinidad and Tobago. And as you know, Dike, Trinidad, at least for me and to us at Queen Soul, we see Trinidad marketing in terms of tourism as city tourism. When you come to Trinidad and you come into the port, the nearest beach or the most famous beach is Maracas, which might be between 45 to an hour depending on the traffic, but the Queen's Hall is just 5 minutes away from Port of Spain, and we call ourselves the Magnificent Eight. We have the Magnificent Seven, and the last building around the savannah, that persons can come to is where you can come and stop as a tourist, stop as a Trinidadian, and look at this iconic facility. We want to encourage persons to come, not only for theater, not only for dance, but also to a symposium where you can educate yourself and learn something about the art form.
What's the registration process like, Mr. George?
Well, the registration is free. You can visit our website at queensoltt.com. It's free to the public. You go to our event page and you would see Together AI, and you just click on buy ticket. It is at no cost. You just put your email information and you will be emailed a QR code which you will use to be seated when you come to the you can also contact us. We have a customer support at 376-5699, or you could email us at together@queensoltt.com. That is the number 2, GETHER @queensoltt.com. So either way, someone will contact you. You can call us again. The number is 376-5699, or you could visit us at queensoltt.com, and you will visit our event page and you would see, you'll have information about the event. It has a schedule as well. We can see the times that you can participate. You can either choose to come for the morning session or you can come in the afternoon, but I would advise you and encourage you to come to both, attend both.
Sometimes you can be a part of something, but then even looking at it after, you realize, oh, I missed this, or hey, I didn't get this point. Oh, this makes a lot of sense. And finding it, looking at it after, sometimes you pick up jewels that we may have missed in the initial telling. So will it be available after as well for those who would have registered? Because you don't want people to just come and say, okay, well, I can look at it after. But will people who would have registered be able to view it after?
Well, we are hoping, not hoping, we are going to record the entire program, and it will be available. We would provide a link so that person can view it after. And we're hoping as well, we had a number of persons abroad who've showed some interest and access whether it's going to be streamed live as well. So we are putting things in place for that as well, where we can set up a Zoom or probably another platform on our YouTube channel and have it streamed live as well. So that is something we're looking into, but definitely it's going to be recorded and be available for persons to view afterwards. Sure.
And while we're here, let me try to pick him out now, Mr. George. What else is on the calendar? What's the next thing we can look forward to coming forward from the Magnificent Eight?
Well, I don't know if you could pick them out, but you know, Queen Soul is really moving ahead and really trying to be globally competitive. And we're looking at doing our own production in 2024, where we're going to have a magnificent production. That's the most I can tell you, a magnificent that can compete with Broadway, if you want to call it that. So, but with, of course, while I'm saying compete with Broadway, always maintaining our local flavor and being, you know, Trinidad and Tobago. So it's gonna be up there with those international type of events.
Thank you very much, Mr. George.
You are so welcome.
The general manager of Queen's Hall. And we want to thank you on behalf of TTT News team. This has been In Depth with me, Dike Rostant. Thank you so much for joining us.